Romago, and I welcome the opportunity in speaking on this. First of all, I think a few things need to be addressed. I heard reference earlier on to scaremongering. I hope it wasn't towards me, because I was to the forefront of highlighting difficulties on this nature restoration law. And I wouldn't like, I've dealt with the national parks and indeed the department for many years, and I wouldn't like anybody thinking because we got legal advice on it, and I think that that needs to be stated. I heard reference to the Citizens' Assembly there earlier. The facts are that there was 6 people from farming background on it, because I asked the question and I wasn't being told how many of them were active farmers. On top of that, some people say that we're doing a disservice to farmers. Some farmers might be in here talking that might be ranchers with a few hundred acres in the eastern parts of the country. What I'm talking about is small farmers in the west of Ireland. 70% of them are gone organic, and they wouldn't have the quality of land that have actually peaty soil land, because anyone that knows this directive would know that it doesn't affect top quality mineral soil land, good quality land. It's affecting the peaty soil land. I remember, and unfortunately I'm old enough to remember the Habitats Directive, and I remember our now President Michael Higgins telling everyone, look, lads, you have nothing to worry about. This won't affect you whatsoever when designations come in, SACs, and I have 12 of them in a 20-kilometre area around me. That's the facts. I know a fair bit about them. And I remember being told there wasn't a problem. You won't be anything to do with farming, nothing like that. And the lads, this cut and turf, don't worry about it. I saw in 2011 helicopters flying over us. I also saw the Gardaí up and down the roads looking to see what were people doing. That's a fair change from being told in 1997. And with the best will in the world, ministers, and I'm not having a go at any minister, they believe what they see in front of them. But the problem is that down the road, and we've seen it in the Habitats Directive, to wasn't what was brought in. It was the ECJ judgments that came in after that, that tightened us into basically a straitjacket. And now we see, for a farmer, if they have to go ploughing their land, if they're on a designated area, if they want to go put in fertiliser, actually if you want to put cattle out in it, if you want to go by the so-called law, you're supposed to turn around and get consent. In the line of the nature restoration law, the problem is, and this has come up from legal people, this isn't me saying it, that by default under Article 4.1 and 4.2, that you will be, all peat soils is claimed now as basically not in good status. On top of that, the worry is there down the line. Right, I know, and I've said it publicly, so that no one say I'm scaremongering, I said the state have enough of ground to cover it in 2030. Because Burnamona and Quilcha, and if you look at the wording of the directive of the nature restoration law, it states very clearly that any works finished, carried out already, cannot be included. It has to be either ongoing works or new works. That's the facts. So when you add what the 19,000 hectares the Burnamona have done, yes, they will be able to do some, and it will cover us in 2030. I've said that openly, and Quilcha have land as well that will cover us. But it's from then on, and tell me a place in this country that the state own agricultural drain peatland. That is land that has been shored, bog was cut away in it years ago, it was shored, there's green grass growing in it, and now farmers are farming it. And the reason that was done, the same EU gave them grants to do it, the reason that was done was to basically make small farmers that had the 30, 40, 50 acres in the west, the northwest, down as far as West Cork, out in parts of Kerry, out in the Midlands, to make them more viable, to be able to basically earn a living and rear a family on it, and that's what they have done for years. And in my opinion, and yeah, like people talk about acres in here. Acres has nothing got to do with the nature restoration law, whoever believes it has. It's an environmental scheme, yes, and we had 46,000, and we welcome what the Minister done this morning, 9,000 is 55. We must remember that under the old REP scheme we had 70,000, and we're shouting now about having 54 or 5,000 farmers in it. I believe that it is now in the hands, there's no point in we codding ourselves, it is in the hands of the MPWS to now draw up a plan. That plan is to go to Europe within 2 years, and all I can say to you, Minister, is that I hope that you deal with the stakeholders. There's a worrying part to this, because if you look at the designated areas, in the wording of it, it talks about they being prioritised to be basically getting the double bubble of stopping. And at the moment, have a look at Lough Finchna. In 1997 under the Habitats Directive, was it ever envisaged that the likes of Loch Finchina, the people would be let basically flood their houses before the Habitats Directive would come in? And it's a major, major problem. Thank you.